Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Adam Pearce sends heartfelt message to Rhea Ripley. The electric atmosphere of WWE Raw was as palpable as ever when the show kicked off on Monday night. The tension had been building for weeks, with storylines intertwining in complex, unpredictable ways. And at the heart of it all was the women's world champion, Rhea Ripley. The Eradicator had been a dominant force for over a year, ruling the women's division with a mixture of raw power, relentless aggression, and an unshakable bond with her Judgment Day allies. But after a grueling few months defending her title and navigating the rising tensions within the Judgment Day, something seemed to shift for Rhea. She was no longer just the ruthless, unstoppable force everyone knew. She had started to show vulnerability. This shift hadn't gone unnoticed by Adam Pearce, the on-screen WWE official, and someone who had developed a quiet respect for the young champion. On this particular Monday night, something unexpected happened. A moment that would surprise not just the WWE Universe, but Ripley herself. As the night unfolded, Pearce stood in his office, a look of concern etched on his face. He had been closely following the trajectory of Rhea Ripley's career, watching as she tore through opponent after opponent, solidifying herself as one of WWE's most dominant champions. But Pearce also saw the immense pressure that came with that success. Recently, he had observed how Rhea had been stretched thin, both as a competitor and as the glue holding the Judgment Day together. The cracks were starting to show, and Pearce couldn't ignore it. So, for the first time in his role as WWE's authority figure, Pearce decided to reach out. In a heartfelt message that aired in a backstage segment, Pearce addressed the champion directly, something he rarely did on screen. The segment was framed simply, just Pearce, standing in a dimly lit room, his usual official demeanor softened with sincerity. "Rhea," Pearce began, his voice steady but warm. "I know you probably don't want to hear this from someone in my position, but I've been watching you, both in the ring and backstage, and I feel like I need to say something." The WWE Universe was immediately captivated. Pearce, known for his stoic approach to his role, rarely engaged in personal messages like this. His words carried weight, and fans sat up, eager to see what he had to say. "You've been a dominant champion," Pearce continued, his expression serious. "I've seen a lot of superstars come and go in this business, but what you've accomplished at such a young age is nothing short of extraordinary. You're strong, you're ruthless when you need to be, and there's no one in that locker room who can say you haven't earned every bit of success you've had." The sincerity in Pearce's voice was evident. He wasn't just praising Rhea for the sake of television drama. There was a genuine respect in his words. For months, Ripley had been carrying the women's division on her back, standing tall as a beacon of excellence in WWE. But Pearce, always the keen observer, saw more than just the victories and the title defenses. Pearce shifted slightly, his tone growing more serious. "But I also know," he said, "that being on top comes with a price. And right now, I can see that the weight you're carrying isn't just your own. You've been leading the Judgment Day, fighting battles that sometimes aren't even yours. I know what it's like to lead a group, to be the cornerstone of something bigger than yourself. It's exhausting, it's draining, and you don't always get the credit for it." The mention of the Judgment Day hit home for fans. Rhea Ripley wasn't just the women's world champion. She was also the de facto leader of the most dangerous faction in WWE. The group, which included Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio, had been wreaking havoc on both Raw and SmackDown for months. But recently, cracks had begun to form within the faction, especially with tensions between Priest and Balor over the Money in the Bank briefcase. Ripley had been the one to step in, to hold the group together, to mediate the fights and keep the power structure intact, all while continuing to defend her own championship. The stress had been mounting, and Pearce knew it. I've watched you take on everyone else's problems," Pearce said, his voice tinged with concern. "You've been the backbone of the Judgment Day, the one keeping them from falling apart. But I see how much that's weighing on you, and I know it's not easy." For Rhea Ripley, a woman who prided herself on her toughness and stoicism, hearing these words from Pearce would have been jarring. Vulnerability was not something she easily allowed herself to feel, let alone show. But Pearce's words cut through the facade, addressing the unspoken truth that everyone else had been ignoring. "And it's okay to admit that it's tough," Pearce continued, his voice gentle. "It's okay to take a step back and say, 'I need to breathe.' You've been giving everything, your strength, your time, your energy, to hold that group together and to keep that title around your waist. But you don't have to do it all alone." The WWE Universe was captivated by the moment. Pearce wasn't just addressing a storyline or a wrestling match. He was speaking to the human being behind the character. His words were a reminder that even in the high-octane world of WWE, there were real emotions and real struggles that often went unnoticed. As the segment neared its end, Pearce's message took on a more personal tone. "I've been in this business for a long time, and I've seen what happens when people try to do it all without taking a moment for themselves. It burns you out, and I don't want to see that happen to you, Rhea." Pearce's words echoed through the arena, a powerful reminder of the toll that the wrestling business could take on its stars. Ripley had been on an unstoppable trajectory for so long that it was easy to forget she was still human, still someone who needed time to recharge, to refocus. "So I'm saying this not as an official, not as someone who makes the matches," Pearce said, his eyes full of sincerity, "but as someone who respects you and what you've accomplished. Take care of yourself. Because this business, it'll always be here, but you need to be at your best, not just physically, but mentally too. And sometimes that means letting someone else carry the load for a little while." The heartfelt message left fans buzzing. It wasn't often that WWE showed this level of introspection or allowed its characters to be seen as real, vulnerable people. Pearce's words resonated with many, especially those who had watched Ripley's grueling schedule and the immense pressure she had been under. On social media, fans expressed their admiration for Pearce's candor and the respect he showed Ripley. Many commented on how refreshing it was to see a figure like Pearce reach out in such a personal way, especially in a business known for its larger-than-life personalities and over-the-top rivalries. For Rhea Ripley, the message would surely hit home. She had been balancing the weight of being champion with the internal politics of the Judgment Day, all while continuing to be one of the most consistent performers on WWE's roster. Pearce's words were a reminder that even the strongest need time to recharge. As WWE continues its march toward Survivor Series and beyond, Ripley will no doubt face new challenges, both in the ring and within the Judgment Day. But with Pearce's heartfelt message ringing in her ears, perhaps she'll take a moment to pause, reflect, and ensure that she's not just surviving, but thriving. After all, even champions need someone in their corner. And Adam Pearce, with his years of experience and deep respect for the business, had just made it clear that Rhea Ripley had someone looking out for her.